Hey everybody, this is Deborah Richmond with Tech Buzz Marketing, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about why do we market with social media? Why should we market with social media? Now I know a lot of you are just beginning social media. Some of you have been using social media for a while but want to start getting a little more into the strategy of how to really drive traffic with it. And some of you may have been doing this for quite a while. At every level, no matter what level you're at, we continually have to ask ourselves, when we are reevaluating our marketing and we are deciding which things we're going to be putting into our marketing plan every year is social media still worth doing? Is this really where I should be spending my time and money? And the answer is yes, and I want to tell you why. The reason why I say the answer is yes, because I look at these things all the time, because my business is entirely based on social media. Not only is it how I market my business, but it's also what my business is about. So I, above everybody, want to know, is social media working? Is it going to continue to work into the future? And so I wanted to share with you some of my findings so that you can enjoy the same information when you're making decisions about your marketing plans. So we're going to go through some statistics that have been out about some of these social media, some of the most well-known social media websites, because these numbers really is what I want to know. I want to know the facts before I make decisions about what networks to use. And so you can see here that this is a slide that's talking about the average time visitors spend on social marketing sites per month. Now, when I saw this, I was quite surprised. I did not know. I mean, I know a lot of people are using Facebook, but this is telling us that people are using Facebook on an average of 6.75 hours a month. That's quite a bit. That is fantastic. What that tells us is people are here. We know they're here in large numbers, but they're actually really spending time. They're spending time probably, with their friends and photos, and they're also going out and hitting other website pages, some other people's pages. They're spending the time. That's good news, because in order to decide, is social media still worth using, you need to know, are the people here? If they are, this is where I want to be. Years ago, when everybody watched just 3 different channels on television, because that's all there was, then advertisers knew they could reach us there. So that's why commercials were so valuable back then, because that is where they would reach us. Many of us were sitting there in the evenings, around the news in the evening and whatever programs were on. It was easy to reach us because all of us were in roughly one place, or 3 places, these 3 channels. Well, now people are moving. Not everybody is watching the television every single night. In fact, there are some people who don't watch it hardly at all anymore because they consume everything online. And so this is an important number because it shows us, yes, people are here and they are using it extensively. And so the other numbers that follow is Tumblr, 1.5 hours, Pinterest, 1.5 hours, Twitter, 21 minutes. Twitter is a little bit shorter, I can tell, because it takes less time to put updates out there. So that is, they hit it fast is what they do. LinkedIn, 17 minutes. Google Plus, 3 minutes. So not only does this show us people are using these, but it kind of gives you an idea of where people are spending more time more slowly. So these are all good things to know as we're making decisions about our marketing. And let me go to the next slide. So now is the time. This is what I took away from this slide when I saw it, is that now is definitely the time. These slides are showing us percentage of people in the U.S. who have a social networking profile. Now they're showing us from year 2008 to 2012. These are great numbers. In fact, this surprised me a little bit. 2008 it was 24%. Every year since then it has been climbing, including 2012. Now some people are saying, oh, we're at the saturation point and now it's going to start to decline. These numbers don't show it. These numbers continue to show that it's growing. That is good news, because again, we want to make sure that we are in a place that's worth putting our systems together, worth putting our processes together on how we market. And yes, these are around to stay. Social media clearly is not a fad. In fact, it's continuing to grow. Percentage of people in the U.S. who use social media several times a day. So these are your power users. And in 2008, there were 5% were your power users. They're on constantly. 7% in 2009. Every year it climbs. 2012 it's 22%. Now this is very telling because whenever let me talk about MySpace. If you remember MySpace, it was here for a while, very, very popular. Everybody was on it, and boom, it just went away. So that's something that I always watch for in the social media sites, because I want to know if there's one that's losing momentum. Then I want to know that, because we want to market at the most popular places. So what this is showing me, what happens is that when the power users start jumping off, that's when you know, and they start moving to something else, that's when you know you need to start watching that maybe certain networks are going to slowly die the way MySpace did. But this is showing that social media in general, that people are, the power users are just getting more and more and more are becoming power users. So social media as a whole platform is continuing to grow. Now I still monitor the different sites to make sure I know which ones are more popular, but as a whole we can continue to focus on social media, and this shows us that people are using it in large numbers. So let's talk a little bit about Facebook. 77% of consumers said they interact with brands on Facebook primarily through reading posts and updates from brands. This sparked my attention because 77% are on those brands' pages, they're on our business pages, and they are consuming our information there. That's good to know, because a question I get from a lot of clients is, if I put up a page for my business, does anybody really care? Is anybody going to care about my business? Aren't they there just talking to grandma? And the answer is yes, they do care. This number is a good answer to that question. Yes, people are going out to those business pages. They do care, and they are looking at what's out there. 17% of respondents said they interact with brands by sharing experiences and news stories with others about the brand. So some of them are not only here and seeing what we're putting on our Facebook business pages, but they're also sharing it with their friends. That's golden. That's what we want. I have, I think, over 600 people on my personal Facebook page, and so that if somebody, if I share something from your company, I'm going to be sharing it with over 600 people. That's how information goes viral, and that's the type of marketing that we want, we have access to here. That's different from every other type of marketing as far as like television, newspaper ads, any of those, is they don't have this ability to share so widely with so many people, and people are, yes indeed, they are sharing information they're seeing on business pages. 13% of respondents said they post updates about brands that they like. That's pretty significant. If people are posting about brands they like, that's pretty much a brand that they're really pretty loyal to. And if this is a behavior that we are seeing, that people are talking about brands, again, it's another indication that it's worth it for us as businesses to be on social media. Let me move on to another network, LinkedIn. This is actually my favorite network, and that's because my business is a B2B business. So if you have a business that sells products and services to other businesses, this should be your favorite network as well. It just is such a great one place to really connect with the business world. So to give you some idea of who's on Facebook, this is telling you that users are more affluent, educated, and influential in business. So let's take a look at that. Their age, 68% are over the age of 35. So this is significant because often when we're prospecting to businesses, we want to know that we're reaching the upper levels. We want those higher executives. Those higher executives are very often over the age of 35. So this is good to know that people over the age of 35 really are on this site, and they really understand how to use it. Education, 74% of users have a college degree or better. Again, showing us that yes, this is a place where professionals are hanging out, are spending time for all different kinds of reasons. Salary, 69% of all users make at least $60,000 a year, and 39% make over $100K a year. That means, again, we're getting those upper levels of management and executive positions in companies are here on LinkedIn. That's where you would see these numbers as far as salary. So this is all good information. It again confirms what I've seen in my own experience, which is that for a B2B business, LinkedIn is a place where people understand that this is for business. The professionals are there. In fact, they are piling on in droves. That's why I'm so committed to LinkedIn. I'm so excited about LinkedIn because I have seen over the years it was a kind of a small place at first. You know, it was good for testing out some things, but as I'm always testing new strategies, and what I started seeing was that a couple years ago, probably 2 years ago, it started just taking off, and it is climbing and climbing and climbing as far as the number of professionals who have a presence on LinkedIn and who are on it on a regular basis. Now, the good news is there's still a lot of professionals. Now, I'm getting a lot of questions from professionals about maybe they started a LinkedIn page, but they're not really using it very much yet, and now they know they need to. And also professionals who aren't there yet and want to know how to get on LinkedIn. Those are, again, indications that this is still a growing place to do business. All right, and then this particular slide is about Twitter. More than 50% of active Twitter users follow companies, brands, and products on social networks. Again, that's what we want to know. Are they paying attention to businesses? And the answer is yes, they are. 50% of all companies that use social media for business use Twitter. That's a higher number than I really thought, which is good news. Again, very good news. If companies are using Twitter, then again, if you are a B2B, you should be using Twitter because you're going to reach the companies here. 79% of U.S. Twitter users are more likely to recommend brands they follow. That's a pretty high number. They're following businesses and they are recommending them. That's all good news, all good for marketing. That's what we want to know. 67% of U.S. Twitter users are more likely to buy from brands they follow. So again, your number of Twitter followers is a really good indication of how well you're connecting with your market. So Twitter can be used for, communication, but also can be used for analytics to show you things like this. So I wanted to share this information with you because it's information I gather when I'm making decisions about my marketing strategies. I use entirely social media and online inbound marketing for my company. I use exactly what I teach, and I teach exactly what I know that works. And I wanted to bring this information to you because this is going to be a good information for you as well in making decisions. Now I want you to watch your email because coming up I'm going to be sending out another video that I'm going to be talking about how I built my business using social media, how I went from an unknown company that did not exist, no brand anywhere, to a large online presence. I'm going to show you the pieces of my own online marketing machine of which you would be able to replicate for your business, and it's the system that I really teach everyone because it's the system I've found that worked. And I'm going to show you what I found that works and what doesn't, because I've done a lot of testing in order to get all of the strategies that do actually work and how to use them together. So do stay tuned to your email, where I'm going to be bringing that to you in the next couple of days, and we will talk to you soon.